Hello Factorio people, welcome back to the broadcast from Space Age. A semi-streamlined Let's Play walkthrough tutorial kind of thing. Last time we got cryogenic science packs on Aquilo sorted. Today we're going to go back to Aquilo and see what extra goodies we can get with those science packs. Thank you for all the support, as always. If you want to do the like, comment, subscribe thing for me, that would be great. And then we'll jump straight into it, shall we? Aquilo's ticking over nicely. This is how we left it, very slowly making science. Of course the issue is that you're very limited on both space and power on Aquilo. Heat pipes also don't really make things very useful. So we're only currently got 24 science packs per minute. Because we kind of, we'd love to put productivity modules and stuff in here, but we just simply don't have the power for it. We have now researched fusion reactors and stuff with the Aquilo science packs. There they are. So we can come back and get this sorted. They're relatively easy. We need to get quantum processors up as well, but those are researched. But what I wanted to do, I was in this kind of mood. What I actually really wanted to do is I wanted to get a good grasp of quality. Because I played the mod, I played Space Age when it first came out. I didn't really interact with quality that much. Thought it was a bit complicated for me. I wanted to just sort of experiment with it, and I've experimented with it in editor mode and stuff. I've never actually properly experimented with it in a real life situation. So I thought this would be a really good opportunity to go and sort that out. And I've elected to do that on Fulgora because Fulgora makes the superconductors which you need to go into Quality Module Mark IIIs. To me it seems prudent to start by making Quality Module Mark IIIs in higher rarities and then use those to help farm the rest, really, because a legendary Quality Module Mark III is twice as good as a normal one. So we've got some stuff going on Fulgora already, but it's really weak. There's no like upcycling, I think they call it, where you recycle the quality of the ones that you don't want. So I thought we'll go to Fulgora and we'll use this patch here. I'm quite lucky in this 59 million patch here that it's relatively close to this, to the point where we won't need to worry about using a train or anything. We can just build a completely self-sustaining base here that just does quality modules. And we'll use that as a sort of a stepping stone, seeing as we've been farming quality modules already here for a bit. Very slowly, but we've got some. So let's go from Nalvis to Fulgora, and I will show you. I spent basically an evening on this, and it's still not that good. It's a complicated system, folks. It's a complicated system. Alright, here we are on Fulgora. Simple mining into a box, into some logistics chests. Logistics robots bring the scrap over, and then the scrap is processed. And it's very similar to the main base on Fulgora. As you can see, we process the scrap. There's a recycler here for anything we have too much of. But the only thing we're really making on site, for now, in this iteration of the design at least, is quality modules. So we make Mark 1 quality modules in electromagnetic plants. Obviously the electromagnetic plants give you the 50% productivity bonus, so that's all good. We make Mark II quality modules with those. And there are quality modules in here to try and get better quality module Mark IIs, because then we also have a row of quality module Mark III assemblers in each quality variant. And so the idea is that, let me get my drawer out. These ones, these four here, will make Mark IIIs, and potentially in different qualities. The qualities that we don't want, i.e. common, uncommon and rare, or that is the 1, 2 and 3 dot ones, it's not very helpful, will go and be recycled. And the recyclers have quality modules in as well. So the idea is that you have a chance to roll extra quality here based on your quality modules, which are currently 20% quality. So there's a 20% chance here that a quality module will be improved, and then if it's not, 80% of them go here, and then because these are also on quality module Mark 3s, but there's only 4 slots, there's a 16% chance here that they'll be improved. Well, at least the ingredients will be improved, which can then be upcycled into this one. And then that same process jumps backwards and forwards, hopefully with enough regularity that we get all the way up to uncommons, epics and legendaries, I should say. And you can see this is kind of working. This has made 7, which isn't loads, with 50% productivity. We of course also have to make some superconductors for this, but that's very, 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 very easy. You can make a very large amount of superconductors, well, 1 a second, with just some heavy oil, some ice, some stone. And obviously the holmium is currently being kept with the blacklist system that we have here, that we've had before, that I explained in a previous episode. So it kind of is alright. I do iterate on this design a bit later, and I'll come back and show you this a bit later, but as a starter for 10, this is fine. I also brought all of the excess quality module stuff from over here, so any other modules are just getting reused and recycled at the moment. And then once we have a decent number of quality modules that we can use, we can upcycle in other ways. But just to get started with it seems like this is okay. I'm making some processing units here just because high quality processing units seem to be a bottleneck at one point, but it also now seems that just getting quality Mark II modules is also a bottleneck. So, you know, it's okay. It's okay. There's probably a better way to do it, but as I say, I wanted to try and work this out for myself, and I had some time to kill, both in my life and in the game. Because when we go back to Aquilo, I'd like to just sort of leave this running, which is why I've set up the other things here that we've established in previous Fulgora episodes. It's easier to recycle steel chests than it is to recycle steel. It's easier to recycle hazard concrete than it is to recycle concrete. It's easier to recycle landfill than it is to recycle stone, and so on and so forth. And I also brought some cliff explosives with me to tidy things up, and this is about as much power as it needs. Ish. Okay, so we'll leave this running, and we'll come back to this later in the episode and see what I've decided works and doesn't work, and what's good about it, what's not good about it, etc. But for now, I'm going to go back to Aquilo, now that we've got a lot of the other stuff researched that we need. And we'll get some stuff done back there. I'm physically standing on Aquilo, as you can see. I've put some more electromagnetic plants down, and by more I mean just the 4 that I brought with me. I think I was confused about why I brought them with me in a previous episode, and now I realise that's why I brought them with me, because you need them to make quantum processors, which need tungsten carbide from Vulcanus, superconductors from Fulgora, carbon fibres from Gleba, and lithium plates from right here. So they are, you know, beefy boys. And as such, I'm also putting quality modules, productivity modules I should say. Sorry, I've got quality modules on the brain, as you can imagine, in here. And we'll just get a few going, because the reason we want a few going, this is really a terrible way to do this, probably should have Every time I boot this game up, I'm like, today's the day I install even distribution, and then I always don't do that. Mostly because I really like doing this. I don't know. This probably says a lot more about me than anything else. I don't know. I just find it very satisfying. He's stimming. He's stimming. Everybody, new stim unlocked. Right. And the reason we want processing units is because they look nice. No, because they are used in fusion reactors, which we definitely want on Aquilo, because once we get fusion power sorted, we can go really hard on filling all of these module slots in the cryogenic labs, which is something we can't do because we're sort of beholden to just either nuclear power or steam turbine. Well, we're beholden to steam turbines regardless. Whether we get the water from the heat from heating towers or nuclear power, it doesn't really matter either way. It's not really, you know, like this is 46 megawatts. That mostly is all going to be used in these for now, because I've put loads of quality modules in them. So we'll get some processing modules, quantum processors. Sorry, it's, you know what it is? It's Dyson Sphere program that's done this to me. Because in Dyson Sphere program, processor units are like the top tier. Are they? Anyway, I don't know, but anyway, I always call them processing units, even though processing units are blue chips. I call these the top tier of that. Anyway, I have a headache. I'm sorry. I've had a headache for about 3-4 days now. Clearly something is wrong with me. As we all know, that's probably most of the reason why you're here, because you enjoy watching the slow, casual disintegration of a man, more than actually video game stuff, but whatever, beggars can't be choosers, can they? Right, so we'll get some quality, some quantum processors done, quantum quality processing units, processors. You can see the mistakes that I'm making here, folks. It's not out of reach as to why this is happening to me. We need a whole bunch to make the first few. Where are they? Here. We need 250 to make a fusion reactor and 50 to make the fusion generators. But that's easily done. You can see down here that we are waiting for legendary quality modules. I didn't manage to capture it on stream, but the milestones will show that we have made first quality module 3 legendary. And as such, we're going to swap all of the Mark 3s, the rare ones, for legendary ones as and when we get them, hopefully. Man, the Aquilo soundtrack goes hard. Right. The shuttle is going backwards and forwards. This holmium ends up being a bit of a bottleneck. I end up changing this request to be 2 rockets worth 2,000 holmium plates. But for now, we are just going to sit here and farm quantum processors until we have enough to get something done with them. We have some. We have enough to do what we wanted with, at least. One fusion reactor can make 100 max watts of output. If you just pay attention to the box down here when it pops up. 100. I've drawn the line straight through the important bit, so that's good. Let's do it a different way, shall we? Let's do it this way. It can generate 100 megawatts of plasma on its own. A 100% neighborhood bonus means that it gets an extra 100% for every fusion reactor it's next to. So 2 would be 200, 3 would be 300, and so on. But that applies I don't want to say semi-exponentially, because that doesn't make any sense as far as a phrase goes. But if you have one fusion reactor, this will do 100. If you have 2 fusion reactors, then they're both getting the neighborhood bonus, so they're both actually on 200. If you have 3 that are next to each other, they're all next to each other, then each one is 300. So what's this, 400, what's this, 900? So I guess it is exponentially. That's a 9, by the way. But we'll start with 1 for now, because we just need that 1 to start making enough power to do everything. Because 100 megawatts is, of course, twice as much as what we can make now for so little floor space. It needs cold fluoroketone, which turns into plasma, which turns into electricity, and hot fluoroketone, which is then cooled. This is completely lossless. You only need to put some fluoroketone in. Once you've got some fluoroketone in, it is all just the amount that comes out is the amount that goes in. So I've got some barrels here ready to go. And that's it. That's really it. It's free real estate, folks. 10 barrels, that should be more than enough. Get rid of this. Cold fluoroketone in. You can put the hot fluoroketone into the cryogenic plant and cool it down if that's the way you want to do it, but I'm just going to do it this way because it's a little bit easier. Empty cold fluoroketone barrel. Rotate it so it's facing the right way. And get the nuclear, get the fusion things. These are so cheap, like it's borderline unfair how cheap these are. Got 24. You make them in a cryogenic plant. It can have productivity modules, but it's 1 holmium plate, 5 lithium plates, and 10 ammonia. So the only real thing that you need to care about there is the 1 holmium plate. Like, that is the only thing that is vaguely expensive, because you have to bring them in from another planet. But we are currently doing the rounds on this. I might change the Aquilo shuttle. I might make the Aquilo shuttle just go backwards and forwards between Aquilo and Nauvis with the science packs, and make a completely separate shuttle whose entire job is just going around collecting and dropping off the stuff. That seems like it would be a prudent idea. Having the... It's difficult because you kind of... It's very easy to just get used to the fact that these don't spoil, so you may as well, you know. Especially if you've done the planets in the order that I've done them in, where you've just finished the... I say just finished, feels like bloody a lifetime ago. You do the Gleber science packs, and then you do the Aquilo science packs. It's nice to then not have to rush the science packs back to Nauvis. But we know that this frigate design works. We make so many missiles. We may as well use it. We may as well use it. Anyway, right, so let's plug bloody fusion thing in here, and we got fusion power. There we go. These are so good. They burn the cells, they use the power at exactly the amount that they need to. They're not like the nuclear fuel plants where they just burn through uranium to keep the thing running, and these are smart. They only use what they know they need to use, so like that has immediately caused these steam turbines to use a lot less power because this is picking up the slack. So we've got loads of power now, so now we can do cool stuff like beacon and module the cryogenic plants to get the science per minute up to a level that we want. 24 is not going to cut it. We want at least 4 times that, at least, to keep up with the other sciences that we're making on Nauvis, and other interesting things. So let me do not a full teardown of Aquilo, that would be insane, but just mostly this bit, which is very ugly anyway, but I knew it was temporary. I knew this bit was temporary, which is why it looks as bad as it does. Oh, mamma mia. Some artisanal homegrown spaghetti there for you. That's better, isn't it? That's nice. That's nice. So the solid fuel can terminate at the fluoroketone plant. The fluoroketone plant. This is wrong. This needs changing. This might in fact happen as I'm recording. You need some way to stop this from producing when you don't need it, because then this gets full of hot fluoroketone. The hot fluoroketone that comes out of the cryogenic science pack producers and the quantum processor producers gets backed up. Everything stops working. And yeah, and then it breaks. So this will change ever so slightly, as I will show you. We are now on 3 cryogenic plants, completely full. Yeah, it's failing. It's failing as we speak. We're on 3 fully beaconed and moduled cryogenic plants, so this is now on 80% productivity and a 247% increase in crafting speed. This is giving us the 112 cryogenic science packs that we want. And we got low power. The problem with having low power is sort of everything is dependent on this working fast, and if this doesn't work fast, then this doesn't work, and so on and so forth. And you sort of brown out in new and exciting ways. We need a bit more lithium for this process, is the other thing. This needs 62 lithium per minute, so I've expanded this slightly, and by slightly I mean a lot. And I'm still using the rocket fuel to power it. The reason I want to use the rocket fuel to power it is that the rocket fuel, and here's something that I'd not actually hoped, I'm hoping this is correct. Yeah, the rocket fuel uses a lot more ammonia per minute. We know the rocket fuel is ever so slightly less efficient than the solid fuel in terms of heating the heating towers. But we still want to use it because we need the ammonia to go somewhere. If the ammonia is completely backed up, then the ice stops, and we need both, really, because the ice goes into the science packs. So now that we don't need the ice to make the water as much, I have turned off the output priority on this one to make sure that some ice goes forwards. This one is still on output priority go forwards, and only the scrap, only the excess ice goes towards scrap. That's a minor consideration, right? Let me show you why this design doesn't work and what you can do to fix it. So yeah, we blacked out, basically. So we've had to kickstart the fusion power generator again. You need to have enough fluoroketone in here, basically. You don't need a huge amount. This does not use very much fluoroketone as a system, but you are beholden to your power working all of the time so that your cryogenic plant can actually cool it down. If you have just enough, right, so this only uses 4 cold fluoroketone a second, but it can hold 1,000, and so you might think, well, just put in what you need, don't worry about buffering it. You need that buffer, because if power starts to falter ever so slightly, it's the same as a classic brownout on Navis. You know, you've got enough coal, and then all of a sudden your coal starts to falter. That causes power to dip, which causes your miners to work less efficiently, which causes more coal shortages, and that you have that brownout cycle. Exactly the same happens with this. If you don't have enough fluoroketone in the system, this stops working efficiently, which means your power lowers, which means your cryogenic plant doesn't cycle the fluoroketone fast enough, and you brown out. So unfortunately I had to put all these solar panels down just to get enough power to unbarrel some more fluoroketone, because I foolishly thought everything was fine and got rid of the turbines. If you keep the turbines in, it's slightly less of an issue. This should be fine now if we plug this all back in. It should be okay. And just make sure that you've got enough fluoroketone in the system, basically. And we'll get rid of all of this. And as you can see, I've doubled up. I've actually doubled up on this. This is in the blueprint book, as I should have mentioned more towards the beginning of the video, to make sure that everyone who would not click away once they see that I'm offering blueprints, don't click away. They've already clicked away. They've already gone, folks. They've already gone. I'm not watching this book, they say to themselves, and that's their right. I have no issue with that. I have no qualms with that. That is their right as a YouTube user. Episode 17 of the blueprint book. This is 400 megawatts of fusion power in a little self-sustained thing here. The pipes bring everything around. It has room for heat exchange. What are these called? Heat pipes. Has room for heat pipes should you need them. And enough fusion react generators. So now that we've got these two here, they both can produce up to 200 megawatts, but these will only ever consume 50 megawatts worth of plasma, so we need to make sure that we've got 4 of these for each fusion reactor now. And then they also have a problem. If I turn alt mode off but hover this, you will see that they have a weird sort of... The plasma itself can only go in from these, and then you can chain them, but then they go out from this, so it's a bit weird to sort of finagle them. You can use pipes, of course you can use pipes, but it's very difficult on Aquilo to use pipes for this, because you then need to make sure the pipes aren't frozen, because even though they are full of 1 million degrees centigrade plasma, the pipes freeze. Which, you know, is not very realistic, but as far as puzzle solving goes, problem solving goes, it is at least interesting. So here's the design for this. Let me just Control Shift click this down. That was probably a horrendous mistake, because I've probably ruined everything now. We haven't... yeah, undo that. Please undo that. Let's make sure at least that we've got the electromagnetic plants making these quantum processors enough to make the bloody fusion reactors before we do anything silly like that. But nevertheless, that blueprint is in the book. You can use this on any planet. It just has the space for heat pipes. It makes 400 megawatts, which, to be fair, is not loads and loads. If we go back to Nalvis, we've got our 2 nuclear power plants. We're making 1.2 gigawatts here. Does the rate calculator work on this? Yeah, this makes 558 megawatts, so this is comparable, but of course it is a lot bigger of a footprint, it's a lot more complicated, etc. So, and then the only thing you need to do to get that power plant up and running on other planets is just ship the barrels of fluoroketone. Once you've got some, as I say, it's lossless, you don't need any more. Once you've got some done, that's it. Ah, coffee. Fusion power cells are extremely cheap, but I'm still going to put 80% of productivity modules in them, why wouldn't I? And we're making a lot of cryogenic science packs now. A lot. Probably too many, really. They only go in the railgun technology research, and they do go in the rocket part productivity research, which is insanely helpful. And they go into railgun shooting speed, but not railgun damage. So I may have overcooked this one here. Folks, but it is what it is. Let's go back to Fulgora and see how we can make the quality module things a little bit better, because this was running for a little while. This only ever made 4 legendary modules. This one has made 42 epic modules, which is still pretty good. But we need to go back and make a few tweaks, knowing what we now know about what is working and what is not working. So we're leaving Aquilo. Aquilo is fine, it is going to work. The only minor concern, I suppose, is that this one fluoroketone, fluorine thing, it's got no power, will eventually not sustain the base, but it should be fine. Like, it should be fine. There's so much science. Right, we're off to Aquilo. Whoa, that was zoomed in a bit too much. We're off to Fulgora, I should say. Yep, let's go. 5,000? I actually had enough for that. That's interesting. Oh no, I don't. I have 4,000. Circuit condition. Yeah, it was just waiting for me. Right, we're going to Fulgora. This sort of half works. Once you burn through your supply of processing units, it slows down quite a lot. Because you're beholden to, really, the superconductors and quality module Mark IIs coming in. It's very hard to get legendary superconductors because it's very hard to get legendary holmium plates. because you can't make quality items with fluids, so you can just use normal holmium solution to make holmium plates. You can't like upcycle this. You could upcycle superconductors, which is definitely something that we should probably look into at some point, but for now, I know it's very easy to get legendary plastic through low density structures and then use that to make lots of legendary copper and coal because of the low density structure from molten fluids recipe. This one. So this, you can make low density structures of whatever quality plastic you've got. You don't need to worry about the quality of your molten iron or your molten copper because fluids don't have a quality. So if you can get 5 epic plastic bars, for example, you can make those into an epic low density structure in the foundry, which has high productivity, and there's low density structure productivity research as well, which is already on 50% for us, so we can make extra low density structures for that amount of plastic, which you can then recycle into plastic, copper and steel, because the recycling recipe does not care about the recipe you use to make the product in the first place. The recycling recipe for a low density structure will always be steel plates, copper plates and plastic bars, irrespective of the fact that you did not use steel and copper to make it, you used the molten process. So yes, I will definitely be using that, but that will still require a base level amount of quality modules. Are we here? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? We're not there yet. So what's not working? Now what's not working, in my opinion, is that it is irrelevant to have quality modules in your Mark 1 quality assemblers. Like, this is pointless, turns out. All you end up here with is just a backlog of quality module Mark 1s that you can't do anything with because you're not asking quality module Mark 2s to be made. You're just going with the default of this. Arguably this one is more relevant because you need better quality Mark II modules to go into these recipes, but then you're still waiting on superconductors to arrive, so it's still less relevant. It's still not relevant really, it is slightly more relevant, but it is still less relevant in my opinion, because it doesn't matter if you've got loads of these sat around if you're waiting for the superconductors. So you may as well make a lot of Mark III modules quickly so that the upcycling process can begin a lot faster. Because that's going to be your main source of quality superconductors, is recycling quality module Mark IIIs with quality modules in the recyclers, so that this has a chance to spit out decent superconductors of rare qualities. So this section is fine. This upcycling section is completely fine. We're just waiting really on quality module Mark III. So we have arrived. We have arrived. And also, you kind of have a problem with eventually just running out of processing units. So this is only recycling processing units if there's more than 5,000 in the system, 500 in the system, which we don't get very often. There are a decent number of green circuits in the system, but eventually we're going to run out of red circuits. Eventually, as well. So we can do better than this. We can do better than this for sure. So we've still only made 4 legendary ones. We've made 4 legendary ones. It seems to be much more likely that because this is on 31% quality now that it's filled with this. For every quality module 3 epic we make, there's a 31% chance that it turns into a legendary one. So we're actually more likely to get them from here than from upcycling, it seems. So I want to be a bit more brutal with upcycling the qualities below that, these ones. But I'm going to keep these because even these are 4.7% quality, so we can use these rather than recycling them. So I'm still going to recycle these. So let me implement a whole bunch of changes to that and show you how much or less better that is. Okay, it looks like this now. Doubled the amount of Mark 1 and Mark 2 quality modules being made, and I'm not boosting their quality at all. I'm not boosting the Mark 2 qualities either. So this whole section is self-contained. This will make ideally 6.75 quality module Mark 3s a minute. Quality modules, of course, slow down the process. So we're waiting on legendary modules in here. But then that means that we've got, for one of these that is actually full, for example, there's a 31% chance that we get an upscaled one of these. So we're going to make loads and loads and loads of basic ones with quality in them to hopefully improve the upcycling speed. We are still trying to upcycle processing units as best we can, and it's kind of seems to be valuable. We are getting a whole bunch of legendary processing units, but it's not brilliant. Advanced circuits is the bottleneck currently, because this process is just absolutely eating through them. 342 a minute, and we're only getting 183 from scrap. I could bring in more scrap if I'd have left myself more space. But this is okay. So this is now actually sitting on quite a lot of legendary stuff to make the modules. It's the superconductors and Mark II modules that we're waiting on. But if we look at the totals, all quality, and then let's just look at the last 10 hours legendary, 1 hour. We've made 7. We've made 37 in the last 10 hours. This has been running for a while. I've not been AFK, I've just been sat here playing with it for a long time over the course of the last week. And I did leave it running while I went to Aquilo and did stuff like that. So I have been messing around with it. Epics are a bit better, 187 in the last 10 hours. But as I say, I'm hoping once we get a decent baseline of these, this won't be our sole production facility for quality modules. I'm just going to get a bunch. I don't know how many is a bunch, and I will leave this running once I have that arbitrary number that I've decided. But once I've got that arbitrary number, I will take all of these quality modules away with me and use them to start upcycling processes on other planets. So the first thing I want to do is, of course, the low density structure thing. Well, that will require a number of legendary modules that I haven't quite calculated yet, and more levels of low density structure productivity. But this gets quite expensive quite quickly. This goes up to 11,000. Asteroids also appears to be a good way to start with quality, because you can get quality iron ore from there, and then rather than recycling or upcycling products, you can just start with that quality iron ore and the quality copper from the low density structures and just build up from there. Then you've got a very quick supply of high quality processing units, high quality plastic, which you can then use to make high quality advanced circuits. You can use those to make high quality processing units, because you don't need high quality sulfuric acid, you just need electronic circuits and advanced circuits. So this should be a good starter for 10, in my opinion. Starter for 10 is a reference to a game show called University Challenge, if you don't know that. I don't know why I'm bringing that up. Sorry. Just need to stop talking about Factorio for 20 seconds, that's all. Just give me a minute. I need to calm down. Have a drink of my coffee. Right. Aquilo is totally fine. We're just very slowly making processing units, really. We need to get carbon fibre, and that's because I've been sending the Aquilo shuttle basically manually backwards and forwards between Aquilo and Nauvis, just to get all of this science sorted. The only thing we need the processing units for, the quantum processors for at the moment, is just to make more fusion power plants, because I do have a design for my first playthrough for the spaceship that could get you to the solar system edge. It's ugly, it's horrible. I've been at that save file for about 100 hours by that point, and I just thought I wanted to be finished with it. So it's ever so slightly bigger than the frigate we have now. You can see I use the frigate we have now as a base design for it, essentially. This could get us to the solar system edge whenever we want to. We just need to build some railguns. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I want to get other stuff done. The solar system edge is, you know, all it gets you is this Prometheum science pack, which needs quantum processors, 10 biter eggs, and Prometheum asteroid chunks, which you get at the solar system edge. So, like, and yeah, it does get you more science per science, but it's very expensive, as you can see. And I feel like we can hold off on that. We can bolster the production on the other planets and start megadabasing it in other ways. So, let's take the good stuff from Aquilo, and by which I mean just some more cryogenic plants, which are very cheap, really, all in all, once you've got everything sorted. It's the refined concrete, really, that's the problem. Just bringing that in on ship is annoying. They only stack to 100 in a rocket, compared to 1,000 for the superconductors, 300 for the processing units, and lithium, of course, is basically free on Aquilo once you're sorted. You know, this is just going onto a belt. This is also then going into a chest up here to pick up the excess. You know, like I could limit this to 4,000, and that would take, what, maybe 10 minutes to fill up? Maybe slightly less, slightly more than that, you know. But for effect, it's all good. Aquilo is free once you're all done and dusted. Here's the actual design of this working now that everything's fine. So we're on 400 megawatts of potential power. I really need to start limiting the amount of science that is in the system. We are clearly not using it as fast as I have decided to produce it here, mostly because, as I say, we're researching other stuff that will help us in the long term. Stronger Explosive 13 is a very important milestone for you. It will cause your basic rockets to two-shot large asteroids. That is, of course, a huge difference. Having these needing to only fire twice instead of 3 times is brilliant. It speeds things up a lot. I have actually lost this section of the ship once or twice due to the corners being a weak spot. Generally, you don't want to put your rocket turrets too far out, because you just don't want them to shoot things that are never going to hit, but you need to balance that with them actually being able to shoot asteroids that are coming in. This bit, well, maybe not quite that, that was a terrible arrow. This section really is the weak spot of this ship design, here and here. And if you look at where the turrets can shoot, it should be okay. And it definitely is okay now that we have explosion damage 13, but actually having these turrets shoot 3 times in that area was becoming a problem, especially if they were already focusing asteroids here in this area. It was asteroids that were squeaking in very late, and then being shot, not being shot 3 times fast enough, and then collide the small asteroids that come out of it. Is it the small asteroids that come out of it? Sorry, the medium asteroids that come out of the large asteroids, then colliding with the edges. Not devastatingly so, but enough for it to be annoying, and definitely enough for me to spend the huge amount of Gleben science to get up to Stronger Explosive 13. But once we've got Stronger Explosives 13, that is now a non-issue, hopefully. Right, let's go back to Nalvis and just tidy up a few things that have been bugging me, and use the cryogenic plants to get some good stuff. Cryogenic plants are good for making plastic and explosives, I guess. Sulfur, I guess. Plastic is mostly... The issue with them is really is that they have a crafting speed of 2, but they don't have an inherent productivity like the other special buildings from the other planets do. But you can still make some good headway with them just because of the sheer number of module slots that they have. This makes 1,332 plastic a minute for 9,600 petroleum and a very tiny amount of coal. Not even 20% of a blue belt of coal. But if we get rid of this and plug in the design that I had, this, you can see the footprint is basically the same. Go on, put it there, why not? Also, can I have some robots, please? Just some, any will do, really. Any amount of robots will do at this point. How do I play this game? Thank you. So even with one beacon, beacons are insanely powerful now. They have diminishing returns, but that just makes the first few beacons insanely powerful. And here come the pretzels, the modules, sorry. This is now making 2,870 plastic, which is almost double what we were making before, for way less than double the petroleum, only 25% extra of the petroleum. This would have also been good. I think I put it in the wrong place, basically. There we go. Of course it uses a lot more power, but power is not a problem on Navis, and it won't be a problem, really, for the rest of the game. We've got so much... Here's the Covarex update, you know, like, we're on silly amounts of this now. Nuclear power is sorted, it's free. We got it all in the thing. We could bring fusion plants with us if we want to. I could design a big fusion plant, you know, like there's... Theoretically, I'm not quite sure how viable it is. Not had a proper play with it, not that. Let's go into a bit of space, shall we? Theoretically, you could get neighbourhood bonuses of... I mean... This all works, right? You have to get the... You have to get the fluoroketone in, and the... you have to leave a small space for chests to feed the fusion rods. They're not called rods, they're called power cells, in. But this has a neighbourhood bonus of... Let me just make sure I do this properly. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for this one. So this is 600 megawatts, because you get 100 to start with. This is 600 megawatts. Same with this one. This one only has a neighbourhood bonus of 2. This one only has a neighbourhood bonus of 2. So you've got 2 that are on 600. So 600 times 2. And then you've got 4 that are on 300, and then you've got these 2 in the middle which are on 1, 2. These are also have a neighbourhood bonus of 5. So these are actually, it's actually 600 times 5 plus 300 times 4, which is 54,000 or 5.4 gigawatts, I think, if my very quick back of the napkin maths there works out, which it never does, but... And this seems viable. God knows how you fit all of the fusion generators in, because then you would need 54 fusion generators for this. But as I say, you can use pipes outside of Navis because you don't need to worry about freezing pipes. And there's probably blueprints for that online, but I'll have a play with that later just for an insane amount of power on Navis because it would be funny. I also want to change a few small designs here. I want to make sure that there are beacons in this, because as you can see, red circuits are a problem because I am making a lot of modules on Nalvis now. I'm asking the Mark 3s to only back up to 100, but the Mark 2s and the Mark 1s to back up to 500, so that when we use these, we can get a very quick injection, because obviously using these at pace does not work at all. But this needs 28 a minute to make 10 of these a minute, so as long as we've got a backlog of these Mark 2 ones, we can inject Mark 3 ones very quickly into the system. But I am manually getting eggs as and when I need them, because I haven't set up an auto egg farmy thing yet. So again, this is a very simple case of just adding some beacons in between the things, which is why I always space my designs out like this, just so that I can future-proof them like that. Getting rid of the Mark II productivity modules, replacing them with all Mark III productivity modules, adding speed modules to these, making sure that we've got enough copper, and again that is in the blueprint book for you here. It's Advanced Circuits Mark III, mostly the same. And then I also want to try, every single science needs red and green and blue. But all of the other science packs after that are dependent on what you're actually researching. So you can see here, this one is red, green and blue, but this doesn't need purple, it only needs Falconer science. This one here is red, green, military, blue, yellow, no purple, but space and Fulgora science, and so on. So what I want to try doing is I want to try just keeping a buffer of improving the speed that this science can produce, and blue science to a lesser extent, and keeping a buffer of those, so that keeping a buffer of these sciences, sorry, so that these sciences can back up and be injected at speed when the research requires them, but red and green speeding up. And again, that should just be a simple case of taking some beacons and putting them in these spaces here. I'm holding shift and control, by the way, to do force build. Shift is your build it if you can, you know, like, oh, that was a really poor example. Shift is your build it if you can. Belts are actually a poor example to use this because they have smart belt production. Let's do solar panels. Shift is your build it if you can, you know, so like if you can cover it with landfill or something, build it. Control is your force build it. It's your get everything out of the definitely put this down. If something's in the way, get rid of it. And so when you do that with beacons, shift doesn't work because the transport belt is in the way, but control shift works because the smart belts will put the undergrounds down for you. And again, shift click won't work here, but control click will work there. It just will get rid of the power pole. I'm not doing a very good job of explaining this at all. So we'll do some extra green and red science as well, and we'll see if that can help us with the science. Other than that, we're basically done. We just need to possibly next time use the quality farm. Quality farming is going pretty well, I think. 46 epic ones in here. Just waiting on... No, we're not waiting on much. It's just ticking over, basically. It's just slowly ticking over. And it is going to be a slow process, unfortunately. But that's why I wanted to get this done now, while I was... We got a backlog of Mark IIs here. What are we waiting on? I don't know, we've got 6 of these making... All with legendary modules in, making Mark III quality modules. That are then being upcycled. It's just slow. It's just going to start off slow, I think. Plenty of legendary processing units. Wow. Just an injection of advanced circuits. Yeah, just making advanced circuits here. I'm basically trashing all of the low density structures in this part of the build to get the copper and the plastic for green and red circuits, because that seems to be the bottleneck in the system at the moment. Even though it kind of is all okay for now, I can tell that these are diminishing, and the same with green circuits are eventually going to diminish, so whatever. Right, so I'll leave this running for a bit while I think of other stuff to do, and hopefully next time I guess we'll go back to Vulcanus. Not been to Vulcanus since we left Vulcanus, and we'll see if we can't get this low density structure quality farm thing up and running. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, 55 minutes, what the heck? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please let me know with a like or a comment, and if you want to see more Factorio Space Age, be sure to subscribe. Other than that, take care, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.